Very good. Okay, everybody, let's get started. We're going to do our new agent orientation this morning, and we have some of our older agents here too, meaning they've been here for a long time, that wanted to join us, and I think that's a good thing. So we're going to talk about a lot of things today. We'll take a break about midway through. If everybody can turn off your phones or mute them and try to give us your undivided attention up here, it will be very helpful. Okay? So everybody's got a book. Did everybody get one? Did you get one? Oh, okay. There you go. Thanks, Jared.
Can you just follow along with me?
Uh-huh, certainly, Miss. Okay. Okay. So you'll see on the bottom of the cover, it talks about building relationships. And that is so much a part of what our business is, building relationships. But we're going to go through and talk about everything in this book this morning. If you look at the first page, the back of the cover, you're going to see a welcome letter from John Sr. and John Jr. welcoming you to our company. And of course, they're wishing everybody well and a lot of success and a very long, very profitable relationship with this company. And that's part of what we're going to talk about today too. Right inside the cover there, you're going to see a checklist. Probably most of you have checked off a good portion of the things on this list, but it's something to double check and make sure that you've done. Debbie needs some of your things, training classes, getting your license in the appropriate space, so on and so forth. If you turn the page, there's a place for you to record all of your numbers. And if you don't have those recorded someplace, I would say write those numbers down, because you're going to be inundated with passwords and numbers for just about everything we do. So your DRE number you use a lot. If you haven't memorized it already, you'll have it memorized pretty quickly. SkySlope has its own password, so on and so forth. It's good for you to have those numbers, because as a company, we don't record your numbers anywhere, needless to say. Also, if you don't have a real estate dedicated email address, I would get one. Don't try to combine personal and business. It will drive you crazy. And if you can get an email address on Google, it's probably a better thing, because everything seems to be tied into Google these days. Okay, our first tab says expectation. As an agent, a new associate with our company, there's an expectation that you have, and there's an expectation that the company has for our partnership together. And that's what this few pages here goes into, is that expectation. What your expectation is and what we do. Your expectation from Century 21 C. Watson Real Estate is to provide you a place to come, a place to meet with your clients, the tools, the technology, the support that you need for you to be successful as an independent contractor. What we expect from you is your diligence in trying to do business and to learn how to do business effectively. It's the strangest thing about real estate. Nobody's going to knock on your door while you're home in your jammies and ask you if you would list their house or take them out to show property. You've got to cultivate business. It's sort of like being a farmer. We sow a lot of seeds in this business, and we wait for a harvest. And while some of those seeds are coming to maturity, we're planting other seeds, so that we've got things in our real estate pipeline all the time. You're going to see that as you go, if you're continually building business, you will have business continually. The problem that a lot of agents have is that they will get a client and they'll work with that client until they close an escrow, but they don't do anything to cultivate business in the meantime for the next one. And so it's a continual peak and valley situation, and that really isn't what you want. Everybody's going to face that a little bit, but you want to try to have a steady flow of business, and that's a lot about what we're going to talk about too. We're not going to read these pages line by line in most cases, but I hope that you will, so that you'll have a better understanding of what you need to do and what we're going to do as a company. Technology is extremely important in today's world. I think with the younger generations, which most of you are, technology has been a part of your life forever. You didn't grow into it, you were born with it. So it should be easier, and take advantage of all of the technology that you can. We have a tremendous amount available here, and part of it is just delving in and becoming familiar with it. Don't ever be afraid to jump in and do something on your own. We're here to support you and to give you training classes and so on and so forth. But truly, you can't hurt your computer and you can't hurt the program. Get in there and play around. Get into the MLS and see what's there. Explore every single category in the MLS on that home page. You should be getting into the MLS every day, looking at the hot sheet, because that's a good way to become familiar with today's market. What's happening today? How many properties went into escrow? They're pending. How many new listings are on the market? How many closed escrow? As you review that information every day, your knowledge level will begin to build. Another good way to increase that knowledge level is to go out. As a new agent, you should be going out every day with your lockbox key, exploring houses. It's the best way to get to know square footage, neighborhoods, builders, what's good quality, what's not such good quality, and the values of homes. And it's amazing how quickly that knowledge develops into a real skill level when you're out there doing it. So as a new agent, you should be out there maybe looking at least 2 or 3 new houses a day, because so many of the houses on the market are vacant. Pick a vacant house. If there's something that you think you'd really like to see that's occupied, make an appointment. Tell them that you're previewing properties and you'd like the opportunity to come and see their home. A good way for new agents to begin building that knowledge level too is by doing open houses, and we encourage that. As a new agent, you aren't going to have the listings and the inventory to do your own open houses for the most part, but we have a lot of listings and we have a lot of agents that would love for you to do an open house. Remember, some of the best open houses happen on weekdays, not just on Saturdays and Sundays. So we've had some excellent results with open houses that are done midweek. If you can pick an area for an open house in the middle of the week that is close to a school or close to a busy road and have your directional signs, people will come. And the good thing about that is that most of those people are serious buyers. They're not just looking at decor and home floor plans and that kind of thing. Okay? Okay, back to our page. Professionalism number 2. I don't think you can be too professional in this industry. Professionalism is something that everybody should be aware of, and building your level of professionalism so that you stand out. Okay? Involvement and participation. Like I said, nobody's going to knock on your door to ask if you'll list their house, but if you are following a pathway of involvement where you're coming to the office, you're going to open houses, you're looking at properties, you're doing things, you're going to build your business much quicker. Please come to the office. I can't stress how important it is for you to be here and to take advantage of what happens within this office. The synergy here is tremendous, and when people are together and they're talking about what they need, what they have, the clients that they're working with, there is more business that goes together just because people come in and chat with one another than you'll ever find at home on your own, even looking through the MLS and that kind of thing. Business happens when people get together. We have a lot of training available through our company, both here in the office and online. We're trying to get more of our training online, but we will always have training here available for new agents and for our seasoned agents. I happened to watch a very interesting documentary last night, and it was called Cyber Work and the American Dream. And one of the things it said was that in today's world, you have to continually be learning. You have to learn all the time in order to keep up with changing technology. It said for college graduates, 4 years after they've graduated, everything they learned in college is obsolete, and they have to continually be learning every day. And we find that that's true, don't we? We have to learn every day about the changes in this business, and those changes are happening more rapidly than ever. We have to keep up with it. We have to be knowledgeable. We have to be prepared, because if we're not prepared, other people will be. And that's how we stay on top of our game, is by being prepared. So take advantage of our classes, take advantage of the classes at the board for training, so on and so forth. We're going to go in a little bit later about the classes that we're going to have here available for you. Quality service is something that's very important to our company and should be important to you. And I would say at this point, we're here to serve people, and that's our job. As a real estate professional, the only product that we have is service. We don't go out and manufacture those houses or those buildings or that land, but we do serve people, and the better we serve them, the better we're going to be and the better they're going to be, and the more that they're going to appreciate us, because as we build that service, we're building relationships. C21 has an award called the Quality Service Award. It's actually very easy to get this award. You only have to do one thing other than giving good quality service. When you are going into SkySlope and putting your information in there for each transaction, there's a place to put the email address for that buyer or seller. When you put that email address in there, Debbie will automatically make sure that that's forwarded to our corporate headquarters, and they will send out a questionnaire for quality service. And we have people every year that get a quality service award because they get a good review when that happens. Yes, Mandy?
Also, that quality review can be hooked directly to your Facebook account, directly to your LinkedIn account, to Realtor.com, and that when that testimonial comes out, it will appear in the places that you have directed it to go.
That's good information, because testimonials are something that people really pay attention to, aren't they? People like to look at testimonials. I know I do. If I go on and look for something, no matter what it is, if I can read testimonials, I'm more apt to either not go someplace or to go someplace and buy something or use the service.
And they remain on your Century 21 website forever, so people, when they go to your Century 21 website, they can read them.
Okay.
All of them.
Okay. And isn't it true that if you have a review that maybe isn't the best review, that's important too, because it lets people know that those other testimonials are real, as well as the one that may be a little bit negative or a little bit off? Do you have any comment about that?
Well, I had a client that was upset with the escrow company because his funds were not delivered in the time frame that they expressed to him. So his frustration was not so much with me, but with the escrow company. But when that arrived, the day that he was frustrated, that's what he vented about.
Yeah.
So it was not, you know, there's really, and what can you do? It's not, it was after 2:00 in the afternoon on a Friday, and the funds were not sent out until Monday morning, so he didn't get them till Tuesday. So that's, you know, things
Yes.
happen.
Things happen. That's true. Okay, just important to be mindful of quality service. It's something that we are known for. This company is 60 years old, and a very good portion of our business is repeat and referral business, because in these 60 years, we have developed relationships with people, and sometimes these relationships go through 2 or 3 generations that we're dealing with the same family. And that's a very important thing. That's something that you want to acquire too, is that referral business. We're going to talk more about that too. Number 6 in our book says production expectation, and there's a lot of information here about expectation and production. It's important to know that this company doesn't just float along without bills to pay. As you can see, we've got a gorgeous building, and we've got the latest technology and equipment, and we've got a staff, and we've got all of the accoutrements to success for you. Those come with a price that the company has to pay, but the expectation is that the associates here are going to be making sales, getting listings, and working with buyers, closing escrows, and paying a fair share of helping the company meet those expenses. There is a certain fee, and I don't know what it is. John, I don't know if you have a figure, if you want to share a figure, but I'm sure if we divided up what it costs to run this company every month and the number of people that we have, I would imagine that our expense per associate runs somewhere between, I would guess, $1,500 and $2,000 a month. Am I close?
1,500 is pretty close.
Okay, so the company doesn't charge each agent $1,500 a month to be here. We just have an expectation that our agents are going to be out there trying to be successful. That helps the company, but what your goal is, because none of us want to be here and work for free, your goal is to do as well as you can, because it's your opportunity to grow your own wealth in your own business. So we don't have an expectation for the number of closings that you have, meaning we don't say that you have to close X number of escrows in order to stay here, but we want everybody to do their best, and as you do your best, your business grows. The national average for closings for a new agent through NAR is only 4. I would say most people would starve to death if they only closed 4 transactions in a year. Most of our new agents are going to close somewhere between 6 and 12 that first year and build up from there. We have agents that have routinely closed 60, 70, 80 transactions a year. That's a lot. If your aspiration is to go that high, we'll do everything we can to help you, but just do your best. If you feel like you aren't doing the best that you can, come and see us. We're here to help you. We don't want you to get frustrated and be the person that stays home because they're frustrated, come and talk to us. We'll figure out a game plan for you that can work for you. That's part of our job too, okay? Any questions about anything like that? Okay. The next page over is our training agenda. And you're gonna see we actually have quite a bit of training available on the internet in SkySlope right now. And I know some of you haven't been into SkySlope because you haven't had a transaction. You can get in there to get into these documents, and you actually should go in and take a look. If you go into SkySlope, and the way to get in is your email address that you gave Debbie as your business address has already been put into SkySlope. So your login is your email address, or your login is your email address. Your password is going to be 123456. If for some reason that doesn't work, let us know. We'll reset it. You can put in your own password, but when you put in your own password, please put it on your page to record all of your passwords, because we won't have any idea what that's going to be, okay? When you get into SkySlope, then you're going to see on your home page something that says Office Documents. And under Office Documents is going to be a file folder that says the RPA book from CAR. That's going to have the residential purchase agreement, and it's going to have almost all of the disclosures that you're going to need for a residential sale. Please go in and begin reading that book and studying that book. It almost says word for word what we say in class. It follows very closely exactly what we say in class as we're going over the purchase agreement. It gives you what each line means. It talks a little bit about the law behind it. And I think if you know those things, it makes it easier to use that document. So go in, begin exploring. We will have a class, but it's going to be a lot easier for you if you've had a chance to go in and look at that purchase agreement and those disclosures.
And that's in Office Docs?
Office Docs, Do you see the file there, Mandy, that says RPA? What does it say, RPA?
RPA book.
RPA book, Residential Purchase Agreement book. Okay. I like to do a field trip with new agents, and we will be setting one of those up pretty quickly. We like to go out and learn how to set up for an open house, how to do a competent visual inspection, which is something that every agent has to do, whether you're a listing agent or a selling agent on any residential 1 to 4 unit property, okay? So we like to go inside and outside, explore that house that we're going out to visit, and learn how to do that competent visual inspection. Also, we learn how to show a house, a little bit about what to say when you're there, how to get it set up, so on and so forth. So we'll have one of those coming up pretty quickly, and watch for that. Create 21 is a class that you can do on your own when you go to 21 Online. And in 21 Online is a tab called C21 University. If you click on C21 University, it's going to have, and they're just changing it, so what I'm going to tell you now may be different in just a few days, but it has been set up under free classes, classes that you can get a certificate for, and then they also offer some classes that you can pay for that are offered for a certification or something through NAR. Usually you can get those classes a little bit less expensively through Century 21. As an example, I believe there's the military relocation course that you can take. That's a good one for this area. The seniors real estate certification class is a good class to take, and you can do those all online. Some of them are live webinars. Most of our classes are from the East Coast, so if you do a live webinar, then you have to be available when that class is available on the East Coast. They try to do them a little bit later so that we aren't doing them any earlier than 7 a.m. here, but sometimes 7 a.m. is pretty early too. So Create 21 is a class though that you can take anytime on your own through the C21 University. Accelerate is a good class to take. We're actually going to be doing something in a couple of weeks that's very similar, and I believe a little bit beyond the Accelerate class. We're going to be doing the I'm a Listing Titan for class that corporate put on a couple of weeks ago. We have the book for that, and we're going to be doing the class here within our company. Zip forms, when you're ready, anytime as a new agent, schedule some time with me, and I'm going to go in and help you set up your template for listings and a purchase agreement. It would be difficult to operate without that, and you probably wouldn't get that set up on your own without some help. It takes about 15 or 20 minutes, and we can schedule that anytime. Okay, and then Zap, and I've got here schedule an appointment with MIDS. MIDS, are we going to be doing some classes, or is that strictly online?
You know, it just depends on what CRM everybody wants to use. You could use, Zap, or you can use the Business Builder. So it just kind of depends, I guess, what everybody wants to use.
Okay.
I'd be happy to sit down with anybody anytime, though, on
Okay.
a one-on-one basis. So, or
Okay.
if you guys are more interested in doing it as a group, we can also do that. So it doesn't take very much time to set up.
Okay, all right, good, thanks, Mitz. Okay, here's a few reminders on the next page about things that you need to do periodically. One is to check your mail bin. Does everybody know where the mail bins are? Over in the hallway, they're all alphabetical. Check your mail bin, you're going to find all kinds of things. Sometimes vendors come in and they'll leave some information about their product or service. If we have anything from the company, it's going to go in your mail bin. So check it out and see what's there. And I talked about having a dedicated real estate email account. Can't tell you how important that is to have something that's dedicated just for your business. SkySlope, we don't actually teach a class on SkySlope. For one thing, we found out when we did that all of that training stuff stays in SkySlope for 5 years, and then we have to work around it. So SkySlope is so easy that when you get something, we'll work with you at the time. But you can go in and explore the documents and some of those things that are in there. Don't forget that Debbie needs your car insurance and your social security number. And then NAR, the National Association of Realtors, requires that every associate that belongs to NAR, CAR, and our local board FAR must take an ethics class biannually. So every 2 years. That class is usually offered through the board. You can go on to the CAR and I'm sure the NAR website too and take that for free. Just remember that as you take those classes, if you take anything on CAR, it will stay in your file for 4 years. We renew our licenses every 4 years. So as you acquire those classes, and I would start early. If you've just passed your test, it's not too early to begin working on your renewal for your license in 4 years. That 4 years goes by pretty quickly, actually. And you can begin taking those classes and holding on to that material, it will stay in CAR for you for 4 years, or make a file on your desktop in your computer and keep your certificates for those classes there. By the way, all of the classes on CAR are free, so you can take all 45 hours and it doesn't cost you a penny, and those classes actually are very good. We also, through our Rockwell School, will have classes available for continuing ed, and they will run $59 for all 45 hours if you prefer to do something like that. Okay, our dues for the Board of Realtors, the Associations of Realtors, is due every January. So we have to pay those dues. If you don't pay your dues, you will become delinquent and they will drop your membership, and then you won't have access to the MLS and that kind of thing. So every January, our MLS and our board dues are due. You can pay, I can't remember if you have to pay your board dues directly and go to the board office or send them a check.
Or you can have a credit card on file at the board and they will automatically do it for you, so you never
Will they?
miss a beat. Yeah.
Oh, that's
You can
good.
put one on file with them.
Okay, so that's a good idea. Put your credit card on file at the board office. That way, they will charge $10 if they have a class. And if you attend that class, usually then they don't record that fee. If you sign up for it and don't attend, then they're gonna charge you. And if you've got your credit card on file, it makes it much easier to sign up for a class for you to do. Okay. Okay, our next chapter is policies and procedures. And if you look at our table of contents page, John, would you like a book?
Yes,
Okay.
sorry, I came in late. Oh, wait, I think I had one of those. Do I have?
Well, you have
No, I don't
one
have.
of the old ones, but not one of the new ones. Okay. You're going to see under the table of contents that there's actually quite a bit in our policies and procedures. In addition to our company policies and procedures, we have a safety policy and procedure, we have a sky slope, and we have a floor policy and procedure.
Can I say something, Marcia?
Yes, certainly.
For all of you, these things are actually more important than you realize, because you should be cognizant of what CWATS's policies and procedures are, because if something ever happens and you come back and the Department of Real Estate's looking at you, they're gonna ask you questions, and then they're gonna go to the broker's saying, I have all these things and all this stuff is done, this is how I've implemented these classes. So the question would be, you as a licensee, why aren't you following the policies and procedures? Because it may be an issue that might develop into something, so it's important to be aware of at least what the office expects of you. So.
Good. Yes, very true. Okay. So the scope of this policy and procedure is to guide associates through the established practices of our company, which is what John was just talking about. Our company history and organization. Our company was founded in 1959 by Mr. Charles Watson, who was the owner and broker in a small office on Shaw Avenue.
Marcia,
Yes, John?
that's a mistake.
Belmont?
Belmont.
Belmont. I've been making that mistake for 13 years, John, continually.
In fact, that's a artist rendering of the building that he built right over there. Yeah. Anyway, no big deal.
Well, it was a big deal, John. It's good to know our roots and.
If I hadn't lived so many years, it would have went right over the top of that, nobody.
By the way, if you want to see an interesting piece of company history, if you go in John's office, you'll see one of the very first C. Watson signs, what's left of it.
Oh, wow.
That has been framed and is on John's wall. Can almost see the phone number, I think.
485-6400.
Look at that, look at that. Those are my heart.
2975 East Belmont.
There you go.
Is that building still there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. In 1974, I'd been there 5 years, I wanted to move. I told Charlie, it's time we moved out of here. He built that building thinking that when the freeway went in, there would be an off-ramp at Belmont. There is no off-ramp. So it trucked right on by. So he said, we'll sell the building and we'll move. So I immediately sold it to the police credit union, and then we sold Darrell O. Sold them the one they're in now on North Van Ness, because they wanted out of that area too. So we had a beautiful little building down there.
So John, this is the fourth location, this building?
Charlie was on North Fulton when he first started, worked for a guy named Turner, property manager.
Turner Property.
Yeah, Turner Property Manager. And, but that Belmont was the first location, 1616 West Shaw, which is this side of West Avenue on the north side. And that was the last commercial building on Shaw in 1974. We were there 18 years, 10 years in 2975, and now 19 years here, I guess. 18, 19, something like that.
Yes. One remodel in 19 years.
Yeah.
So it's a long history just in this building, but over 60 years,
It seems like only yesterday.
yes.
Anyway, excuse me for interrupting.
Okay, I think it's important for new agents to know that we are in the top 1%, and actually usually in the top 0.5% of all Century 21 companies. Under this one location, we do a lot of business, and it is, of course, a great place to do business. Ownership and management, John Carey Sr. has been our owner broker since 1976. Since 1976. And John Jr. came in as one of the managers about 12 years ago, John, wasn't it?
13. I sold for 10 and been doing this 13.
Okay. So about 13 years. And we are a corporation, and their ownership is under that corporate structure as corporate officers. And John, do you want to talk anything about Chuck Watson at all? About why we keep the name, or?
Well, he had 16 years in the business and was a good name. It was a big company when I bought it, probably 10 salespeople. And that was a large company in those days. Us maids, and what was the family? John was killed in the auto accident. Thane? And Walt Hinkle bought Thane's office. Yeah, those three companies were the biggest companies at that time. And 16 years, I spent 6 years that I'd been in the business with him, and I just didn't see any need to change it and start over again with a fresh name.
Okay. Okay, support staff. I think one of the most important things about our support staff is that everybody is licensed and has worked as an active agent in the past. Being licensed gives all of us, Debbie, Elba, Nitz, myself, the ability to help you in ways that we couldn't if we weren't licensed. Plus, we've had the experience and we kind of know what you're going through as an agent. So I personally think that's a very important thing. Office culture, we've got a tremendous office culture, and I think it's very important for us to try to protect that and to encourage the culture that we have, in that, I don't know if you've noticed when you've walked in the door, but I think that we just exude professionalism, courtesy, and a warm, friendly atmosphere. And that helps all of us as we're here every day working too, to be in an environment where people are supportive and are happy and eager to be here. And you never see our agents fighting amongst themselves or coveting somebody else's business or that kind of thing. I think that this is one of the warmest, friendliest companies that I've ever seen, and it actually is a real pleasure and privilege to be here for that reason, because of the culture. I think that that's exhibited in a number of ways, but one of the important ways is following a dress code. Over the years, the dress code has changed tremendously for professional people. It used to be business suits and ties and white shirts and buttoned down and starched and all of that kind of thing. We don't see a lot of that anymore. We do have some good examples. If you look at Mitz, he's got on a beautiful dress shirt and a tie. And we have a few people that like to dress like that. Some of the ladies still wear high heels and stockings and that kind of thing, but we have people that dress more comfortably too. So you have to find your own style and your own comfort level, but we are in business and we do work with the public, and I would suggest that we need to dress as professionally as we can, because when we dress professionally, people look up to us and have more confidence and more belief in what we do. So important in that respect, and especially if you're on the floor, we work with a lot of cultures and a lot of age groups here. Different cultures have different expectations for what's professional and what isn't. So I think we just need to be mindful of that. Might say something about music, because I've got it in our policy and procedure. We don't pipe music throughout the building because we have different age groups. There's a lot of different styles of music, and sometimes it can just be intrusive. So if you like to listen to music, bring your headsets and listen to your heart's content. We just don't pipe it through the building to be annoying to the people that aren't tuned into that kind of music. Okay. Hours of operation. We're here from 8:30 to 5:30, and we just have a few days during the year that we close the office entirely. Easter, Christmas Day, New Year's Day, Thanksgiving, so on and so forth. Okay, building security and access. Be sure that you get your building key from Debbie. Does everybody have a key already? Okay, be sure to see Debbie. She's got one for you. And you're welcome to use this office anytime that you need to. If it's after hours, we do close the doors for security reasons at 5:30, and we don't open them until 8:30. If you happen to be here at night or early in the morning and you want to utilize the facilities, or you're meeting a client, and it's not during hours of operation when your client gets here, please be sure to lock the door behind that client. You don't want to go off in another part of the building to do business, because you're going to be concentrating on that business and have the doors unlocked. We live in a different world today. We have to be mindful of security. Okay, so just be sure that you lock it. When you come in, And if it's before hours of operation, the security alarm will be on. So you've got to take the alarm off, and then when you leave in the evening or after hours, be sure that you set the alarm, and we'll give you the code for that. Yes.
And always make sure that there's not someone in the back of the building that you set the alarm for, because as soon as they get up and move around, they're gonna set off the alarm.
Yes, I found that out the hard way. That is so true. If you're here in the evening, communicate, walk around the building and see who's here. If you're going to stay late at night or after hours, let people know that you are going to be here. I was here last Friday until late. Everybody had left, and Irma was the last person here, and she told me that she was leaving and there was nobody on the other side. All the lights were off and everything. When I left and locked the door and drove out front, I saw a car sitting in the parking lot, and I thought, oh my gosh, I probably just locked somebody in the building. But I was pretty sure that nobody was in the building. But to be honest, I didn't walk around, and I didn't come back, and should have, when I saw that car in the parking lot, to make sure that somebody wasn't here. Sometimes people will leave their cars in the parking lot and go with a
Show
client
property.
or go for dinner or something like that and then come back. But please be very careful and check. You're right, Mandy, it's very important to know.
I think we've all done it. I think we've all locked somebody in the building and not
Yes.
set the alarm and thinking you're the only one here.
Yep.
Or somebody comes in while you're here and you don't hear them come in.
Yes.
You think you're the only one in the building, and then you set, a lot of times Nikki would sneak in while you were on the other side and you wouldn't know she was here.
Yeah.
And she would just go in and close her door. And
That's a good point. It's really important. If you come,
you'll hear a ding if the door's open. but-
right, go and communicate. Look to see who's in the building. It's good for security reasons anyway, just to know who's in the building, who isn't. Let them know that you're here. You might tell them how long you plan to be here, ask them how long they plan to be here. And I know I've been here so many evenings when Lydia was here, and we would talk, how long are you gonna be here? I'll check with you before I go. Even if you think you're gonna be here 10 minutes, sometimes that stretches into an hour very quickly. Or you get done and you're gonna leave. It's just good to communicate with anybody that is here. Okay.
I also suggest too that, if you are in the building by yourself, that you park somewhere close so that you can get in and out to your car. It's probably not the best idea to be here alone by yourself in the building.
That's very true. If I know I'm gonna be here especially in the wintertime when it's dark, I'll put my car right up by the back door so that it's one step for me to get from the door to the driver's side of my car. And I think that's just being prudent in today's world. We do have a lot of homeless people that tend to wander around here, sometimes sleep around here, sometimes there's more than others. You just have to be mindful of who's out there. Okay.
Be homeless, you might as well be homeless in a nice area.
That's right. Besides, we have electricity out there, John, and they can charge their cell
Charge
phones.
the cell phone. That happens a lot.
Wow.
Okay. Our parking lot is available for everybody. There aren't any marked spaces, so you're free to park wherever you want to park. You just need to know that there are a couple of spaces in the back that belong to Petamonte and Company, and they like to reserve those for themselves. So don't park if it says Petamonte, because he will invite you to leave that space.
How many does Joe have marked? One.
Just one?
Yeah, that's all he's got under the lease.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to keep him in line.
And there is a handicap spot, and we've had a situation where somebody had to park in that.
And I was
Mandy.
literally there 3-4 minutes. I ran in because there was no place left, and I parked there, came in to check my mail bin, said hi to somebody, went back to my car,
And had a ticket?
and had a ticket.
Really? Wow.
Was it expensive?
$375.
My goodness.
They were waiting for you.
Yeah,
And
were.
I was told, it's not the police that it's one part of the police force that does nothing but circle the handicap park spaces
Wow.
in this area.
Oh.
Huh.
They just go from building to building to building to building to building.
Hmm.
And I literally, honestly, I don't think I was here 5 minutes.
Oh.
In fact, the car was still running.
Oh,
Wow.
okay. So a word to the wise. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about our trust account and offers to purchase. This is something that gets to be very confusing for people, and yet it is one of the most important things that we need to talk about here today, because the quickest way for a broker to get in, to get in trouble is to have a trust account violation. So if you're writing up a purchase agreement and you're collecting an earnest money deposit from that buyer, and you're in the presence of that check and you happen to touch it, you have to give it to Debbie then, okay? We used to have a company policy. It has been relaxed a little bit because of the way people live today, but it used to be that we collected an earnest money check for every transaction. Debbie held it until the offer was accepted, and then it was either placed into our trust account or sent directly to escrow and placed in their trust account. John, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that according to the DRE, once an offer is accepted, that earnest money deposit, if there is one, has to be in a trust account within 3 days. Right.
Yes, that's the law. Then we have the exceptions where we have it written authorizing us to hold it until acceptance.
Right, until acceptance, and then we've
You
got
all need
3
to know to
days.
do something different. The law says regardless of the status of your transaction, if you collect a good earnest money deposit, you have to do something with it, either put it in a new trust or depository, hands to the principal, or to the broker's trust account within 3 days. Okay, so now the language in our offers allow us to keep it longer than that, so.
Right, until it's accepted,
Until it's accepted.
right. And then,
the trust account is just about a thing of the past. It is a thing of the past.
yes,
Except
A lot
for
of
property
areas.
management. If you got property management, you gotta have a trust.
Yeah, oh yeah.
yes. So if you are working with a buyer that still uses checks, and we don't see a lot of checks anymore, have that check made out to title company. And all of the escrow companies will actually take that check made out to title company, okay? We used to have them made out to C21 trust account. We really don't like to put them in our trust account anymore. If Debbie gets one like that, she has to log it in 5 places. If she gets the other check, I think there's only 2 or 3 places that she has to log it in. But once you as an agent touch that check, we have to log it in. We have to have a record of it, okay? So many people, especially young people, may have a checking account for a debit card, but they don't have checks. So it's hard to get a check if they don't have a check book, okay? So a lot of people are taking their money direct to escrow, or more frequently, they're wire transferring directly into escrow that earnest money deposit. On the purchase agreement, it says that once the offer is accepted, that earnest money has to be in some trust account within 3 days. If it's being wire transferred, that puts a duty upon both the listing agent and the buyer's agent to make sure that money is where it's supposed to be within those 3 days, because if it isn't, then you're out of contract and there can be resulting problems because of that. Once an offer is accepted, a seller has the right to know where that earnest money is at any time and can call up and demand to know. Okay? Can't tell you how important it is for the broker's license to know where that money is. So you as an agent have a duty to know. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay.
That's the most important thing we do, or the more risk to our license. That's that, right, John? Is that how we handle, that's the most serious, problem you can have, just with, trust account and selling the lot.
Yes. Every quarter, the DRE publishes violators and violations, all up and down the state of California for who's been called on the carpet for a violation. Most of those violations have to do with trust accounts. It's that important, and there's a lot of licenses that are lost or restricted, or something happens because of a trust fund violation. So if you ever have a question, there's no such thing as a dumb question. The only dumb question is the one that was never asked. So if you have a question about trust accounts or what you should do or how you should do it, ask anybody on staff or one of your fellow agents. Asking somebody on staff may be better. You may come across an agent that really doesn't know and might give you the wrong answers, but we will tell you the proper way to handle that.
Other than John.
Other than John? Okay, any questions about trust accounts? If she's not here and the door is closed, attach it to the first page of the purchase agreement, slide it under the door, and she'll pick it up when she returns, whether it's a lunch hour or a weekend. As an agent, you're not supposed to hold on to the trust check or the check, the earnest money deposit check, okay? Okay.
I got a question.
Yes, Forrest?
Okay, because, this is all getting real vague, because I was expecting a check, but like it says in the book,